Welcome to our first edition of the Author Spotlight. I'll tell you what, I'm excited. It's a new day here at DG Enterprises, and I said, you know what, I got to do the first episode and have a big bang with it. I said, what better way to have a big bang than to have a beautiful, bright personality, an amazing author that is just dropping so much value all over the world. So I want to help me celebrate this amazing, beautiful person, a dear friend of mine, Miss Lori McNeil. Lori, how you doing?
I am fabulous. How are you today?
Man, you know what? I'm excited. It's our first episode of the Author Spotlight with Daniel Gomez, just really highlighting amazing, beautiful people like you are, and an amazing author, right? So do me a favor. I'm going to give you, I know the beautiful, amazing soul you are, but introduce yourself to the Author Spotlight and let them know who Lori McNeil is, and take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on this brand new show and helping you launch this brand new show to the world. I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me here. I am Lori McNeil. I am an international business strategist who specializes in media, marketing, and branding. And I do travel all over the world helping entrepreneurs get from wherever they are to where they want to be. And I work with online entrepreneurs. I work with brick and mortar companies and entrepreneurs. I've been doing this for 28 years as a business strategist, as a business owner myself, and as an expert educator. And so I love doing what I do. I jump out of bed every morning, and I know that sounds cliche and maybe a little corny, but it's true. I'm passionate about what I do. I love it. And of course, with that comes authorship, which is what we're talking about here today. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you.
Well, I'm excited because it's just so many people out there, Lori, have a story that matters. And I have a saying, right? Like your story, your book, which we have a copy of your book here, is your story, your chapter may be the only chapter a person may ever read in life, right? We don't realize that sometimes what we put in writing, we think like, oh, no one cares about my words. Like, no, they do. So explain to us how important is it to consider, right, being an author, and what happened after you wrote your first book, right? I know this isn't your first book. What happened after Lori McNeil wrote her first book?
Well, my writing journey is a little bit interesting because Daniel, I don't know if you remember, because there's a part of my writing journey that sometimes I share and sometimes I don't, and that is that I've also written children's books. And I don't know if you remember that or if we've talked much about that, but I actually have always written articles. I've written, in so many different ways, different publications. But my first actual book was a children's book for my nonprofit, the Charlie Foundation. And through that process of 89 different drafts, I learned so much about my skills as an author. I learned so much about what the target audience needs, how to develop my own skills. So after a couple of different children's books with that series, I then wrote my first business book, which was Media Secrets Revealed. And in that process, I learned so much as not only just the business development side of it, but the importance of making sure that the concepts are clearly communicated and what's in my head is, transferring onto the page in the right way to really bring out that emotion and that connection and that transformation that I'm after. And of course, as an educator and as a curriculum designer, all of my business books have reflective sheets and opportunities for deeper dives in the back of the book. That's kind of my curriculum design expert in me coming out. So both of my books. So this is actually my second solo business books. I've written over 20 collaborative business books with other people from around the world. But these,
you know what I love about this is that, what I love about what you did that was brilliant is, ladies and gentlemen, write this down as you're listening to this amazing episode, right? The name of the book is called Legacy Unlocked.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the pink right here, I love that because that's Lori's branding color is a pink. You can tell by the pink on her shade. I was giving her a compliment before we came on live, like, I love your lamp, Lori. But right, Legacy Unlocked. Mm-hmm. And the book is amazing, right? So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I just put the name of there. Go right there and go to Amazon, get a copy of your book today on Amazon. But when somebody reads Legacy Unlocked, what are 3 golden nuggets that they're going to take away as they read this amazing book by you, Lori?
Their Legacy Unlocked is a different kind of a business book because I designed it in 8 chapters, and the first 4 are designed to be an internal dive to build that foundation. And chapters 5 through 8 are meant to be external. And if you've heard me speak at all, you've heard or watch me on social media at all, you know that it's really important when I coach and when I teach for people to understand that the internal tools in their toolbox are uniquely created for them to solve external problems. So your internal tools in your toolbox will help you solve the external problems in the world. And so there's a link between the external and the internal with the 8 steps that I take people through. So understanding the foundation that's so important that's designed in the book to do those deeper dives into not just what's your why and why you do it, but really truly the roadmap to your vision. Because if you don't know where you're going, you can't get too upset about where you end up.
Oh, say that again. That was so good. If you don't say that again one more time.
If you don't know where you're going, then you can't get too upset about where you end up.
Wow. How many of you right now watching, you're upset right now where you ended up for the month of July, and maybe you're upset because you've ended up not where you want to be for the year of 2023. Well, do something about it. I love that, right? Because I think about the Bible verse. It says, where there is no vision, the people perish. And you're saying, right, if you don't know where you're going, how do you know where you're going to be? And I love that, right? Because what you're saying is, with the first 4 chapters of this book, Legacy Unlocked, that you got to take a deep dive. And I think, do you think most people don't realize that it really takes an internal change more than an external change?
I think that a lot of people, they either know it and they don't understand the extent to it, or they really truly don't understand the internal and external connection. Those people that are operating at a high level in our world understand it. They've been through a lot. Most of them have done the deeper dive. They understand the internal influence. They understand the internal foundation about who they are and how they're operating in the world. And for those of us that are still climbing that ladder to the next level, whatever that is for you, I want to encourage you, the internal pieces, that foundation that has to be set, are so vital to unlock the keys that need to be unlocked for you to get to that next level. There's so many people out there that I see, that I talk to on a regular basis, that are still trying to achieve what they want to achieve and fast track it so much that they are missing that foundation that has to be there. And they're building a house of cards in a lot of ways, or they're not fully understanding why they can't get to that next level that they're after. And it's because they need to back way up and understand the true key strategies and components that have to be in place in order for you to step into the person that you were meant to be. And in order to do that, you have to do the internal work first to even have the right mindset and understanding about what needs to be done.
Oh, that's good, right? So think about what Lori's saying, ladies and gentlemen. Are you trying to rush things? Are you trying to rush things in your life, in your business, in your career? And you know what came to mind when you said that? Because when you rush it and you're not ready for it, then it's going to fall apart. And I think we know what comes to mind right now is when we're baking a cake. Everybody can relate to baking a cake. If you rush the process of baking a cake, if it says leave the cake in there for 45 minutes and you take it out at 15, it's going to be mushy. It's not going to be right. And so many of us were wondering, why is my business not right? Why is my life not right? Well, it's because maybe you're trying to rush the process, and you got to think about what Lori's saying. You can't fast track something. You can't rush the process, because when you rush it, then maybe your character is not right. You know, I've met so many people that have overnight success, Lori, and then next thing you know, they lose their legacy because they can't handle that volume of success right away, and they implode. They self-destruct. What happens when somebody tends to self-implode and self-destruct?
Oh man, in a lot of cases, when they've had that taste of success, right, and they didn't have the right infrastructure in place, and they weren't to a point internally that they needed to be in, then psychologically they really start to take a deep spiral down, because they internalize that as a deep failure. They aren't capable of accomplishing what other people have accomplished. For whatever reason, there might be something wrong with them. There's all these huge doubts that start to come in, even bigger than before, because they had it slipped through their fingers, and they're not understanding that they weren't actually ready for what they want, but what they thought that they were ready for. I was just having this conversation actually with one of my clients just yesterday. The subject just came up, and she was telling me, like, I want to connect with this person, and this is my contract, this is my goals, this is what I'm going after, this is my business. And I said, okay, let's talk about your foundation and the things that you have in place that are going to support you being ready for what it is that you're after. And she was ready in the excitement piece of it. But once she did a deeper dive into some of the other aspects of her foundation, she realized actually she wants it, but she wasn't as ready for it as she thought. And so it's really important that whatever it is that you desire, that you make sure that you are actually ready for that, so that when you things don't go maybe the way that you planned or whatever, that you're not backsliding further back than where it was that you started mentally, needing to do even more repair, if you will, internally, because you didn't
I love that. Yeah, it's funny. I'm not funny, but it's true, because, man, it's just like people don't realize that it takes not just the business wisdom, the knowledge in your book, Legacy Unlocked, but it also takes, if we don't have the right character, it's not going to be sustainable, right? If we don't have the right character, it's not going to be sustainable. Mm-hmm. And people don't realize that it may seem like you're ready, but are you mature in the areas you need to be mature in? And many people don't realize. Right now, I want to take a moment to just thank we got Paul. Thank you, Paul, for joining us here on our special edition. We got Rob Wentz. Woo, woo. Shout out to Rob out there. Just got engaged. And Tina Kadish, she loved your comment. I love that. If you don't know where you're going, don't be upset where you end up. Tina, thank you so much for joining us here, and everybody else watching all over the world on LinkedIn. We got over 16,000 viewers on LinkedIn. So thank you for joining us. Without you, there wouldn't be no show. So we're honored that you're joining me and Lori here today. Look, Lori, it's just I just love adding value, right? It's like people don't get it too sometimes. In saying that, people don't realize that, like, you got to give value to the marketplace. And you understand this because so many people, they try to accelerate the process and they don't realize, well, are you delivering value to people? Are you delivering value not just to your end user, the potential prospect and customer, but right, like yourself, right? I'm like, I want to highlight Lori. Who can I put first on our first ever episode? It's like, no, you know what? I love Lori. Lori always gives value to me. Why wouldn't I want to give value? And that's a great example. How do you think someone who doesn't understand value, what are two words of wisdom you can give them of how to deliver value to the marketplace, Lori?
There's a lot of people that, for whatever reason, whether you are a servant leader at the depths of who you are or not, it's really easy to get wrapped up in the dollar and in making the sale and all of your actions basically following that. Of course, we're in business. Of course, we need to, make money to serve, in the ways that we were called to serve. We make more, we give more. But at the same time, I think that in really order to offer true value, again, it starts internal. You have to make sure and check yourself with what your motives are and why you are reaching out to a certain person and why you are guiding the conversation in a certain way. Or when someone reaches out to you for help, are you automatically thinking, oh, this is a potential client, I'm going to try to sell them? You need to check yourself and make sure that you are in a position mentally to serve and to have that be your focus. When you step into a greater version of servant leadership and leading with value first, you will attract not only your ideal client, the right client. Many of you are maybe making money, but you're frustrated because you're not working with, quote unquote, the right people that you want to work with. When you lead with value first and you come from a position of servant leadership, you will be magnetically attract the most amazing people to you, and they will see your heart, and they will know and understand that you're not just a number to them. You're not just another client. You're not just a dollar sign, in their eyes, but you truly care about what you do. Don't do this with a fake spirit, so to speak, because the truth will surface, the truth will come out. When you tap into a deeper version of who you are and your deeper vision and your deeper reason why, then you're tapping into the greater depths of what drives you. And when you understand more who you are and why you do what you do, you will serve from a completely different standpoint, and you will want to serve the world with the messages that are deep within you and come from a position of service and value first. So don't get caught up in trying to make that next dollar. When you do a deeper dive into your greater vision, your greater why, your greater reason for what lights you up, you will want to serve with those deeper reasons of why and messaging. It will drive your value. It will drive your servant leadership stronger than any other thing that you're forcing.
I love it. I love it. And another way to deliver value, I mean, if you think about it, think about what Lori's saying is sometimes people, I think they need to stop looking at the cost of things. And I'm going through this on a higher level, right? Because sometimes we look at the cost, and no, it's not the cost. It's like, what is it going to cost you if you don't do it? What is it going to cost you if you don't become a published author? And I think about the last Sticker Shock Speaking Academy we had, how you ordered a box and you had to ship to our house, and you're like, Daniel, you know what? I want to drop value to your audience. And you gave everybody a book. Like, that's what value is about. But if you're not an author, I say this, right? A book, and I'm going to continue to say this, a book is the best business card you can have nowadays. Because people, right? The truth is, people are going to throw away your business card, but they will not throw away your book, right? I mean, and the beautiful thing is, well, I already read it. Here's Lori's book. And guess what? They're passing your brand along. So what would you say to somebody right now, Lori, if they're on the fence about publishing their first book? What would you say to that person right now who's maybe like, I don't know. I want to hear your perspective on this.
There's so many people that will connect with you. There's so many ways that you will grow in your own journey by publishing a book of the words that are in your heart, the words that are in your mind, the messages that you want to get out there. When you put it in a book, and when you put it in a different written form, and you give people an opportunity to absorb it in a different way, maybe they're familiar with you, maybe they're not, but the growth that happens for you and the growth that happens for the person reading the words on the page are so much, they go so much further. It's like that ripple effect, in the pond. It starts with you taking the courage, taking the action, having that faith over fear about, oh gosh, it's going to be in print forever. These are things that I hear people talk about all the time. And when you understand that it's not about being perfect, it's not about every paragraph being perfect, it's not about the fact that you might update it or change it later, but it's what's inside you right now that the world needs to hear. What is it that is in your heart, soul, and mind for a reason? And how can you, in a different form, spread that to the world who actually is waiting for you to show up? The other thing is, when I think about it from an educational perspective, it's very important that you reach your message in different ways. So maybe they follow you on social media, maybe they've heard you speak, maybe they've heard your name, but it also gives people an opportunity to learn the information differently, because there's so many different ways that people absorb information. There's so many ways that people learn. And then the other thing, Daniel, absolutely, is that in this world today, a book really is the next level of the business card for sure.
Well, I got to tell you, I just love the way you explain that, because people, are attracted to nice books. And what I love about your book is that not only is it an amazing business card, the color, the branding, and it just shows that you put time into this. And one thing that I realize is like you're saying, when you go to a conference and you do what Lori did and you give books out, stop looking at the front end investment. So many of us, we look at the front end investment.
Mhm.
I can't tell you, but I know that by Lori doing that, one day somebody picked up her book and said, I need to give Lori a call. I think I need to work with her. And you never know, because it's like you're sowing seeds into the salt, into the ground, and those seeds are going to flourish. And that's what I love about you. That's why I wanted you to be one of the first people we highlighted, because you poured so much into me. Who would have thought, passing down the lane right there in Dallas, Texas, Think and Grow Rich, I meet this young lady full of energy, smiling cheek to cheek, and it was Lori McNeil, and that we would stay friends almost 6 years. Can you believe it was 6 years ago almost already? That was already 6 years ago, Lori. That was like, wow.
That was amazing. And we've developed this beautiful friendship and working relationship year after year. And it's so beautiful. And, that actually is a really good point. Whether it's a book or an event or whatever it is, you never know the connections you're going to make with somebody. You never know the seeds you're planting. You never know how you might collaborate with somebody, how you might connect with somebody. And yeah, Daniel and I met about 6 years ago on the Think and Grow Rich World Legacy Tour in Dallas. And we've done years since then, and served the world in bigger ways through collaborating in different projects and different things. And I'm grateful for that. So you never know who's going to pick up your book, who's going to hear you, who's going to experience you, who needs to hear your messages that you were created to deliver, and only in a way that you can. You never know where your next client's going to come from, where your next collaborative opportunity is going to come from. You never know. You just have to have the courage to stand up, to show up, to be out there, and to continue putting out your messages in all kinds of ways so that people can experience you, because people buy from people they like, know, and trust. When you lead with value and you give opportunity to, you make way for opportunity for those things to transpire, they like, know, and trust you through hearing your heart, through hearing your story, through hearing your messages, and they get to know you, and you magnetically will attract your ideal client when they like, know, and trust you. And books are a great way, definitely, to do that.
Well, as we're coming to the end of the show, Lori, I want to just thank you, first of all, for just spending time with us here today. I know you're very busy traveling the world. And I want to ask you this question. What has been one of the best things that's happened once you became a published author, right? You've written several books, but what's one of the best things that comes to memory that in becoming a published author for yourself?
So I'm a media branding and marketing expert. And so everything I do is very strategic, which you pointed out, the design and the colors of my book and all of that. But when I became an author for the first time, so many more opportunities and doors started opening up to me, whether it was a media show on television, whether it was speaking on a stage, whether it was new clients. It really was the next level business card, like Daniel mentioned. And it definitely elevated my authority as an expert in my space. And so when you understand what having a book can actually do for you and your business and your overall vision and mission and what you're trying to accomplish, you will be mind blown at the variety of different opportunities that will all of a sudden start to open up for you and catapult you in a stronger direction that you're trying to go in. So I want you guys to really understand the power of what this does for you. Is it worth the time? Is it worth the initial investment? Is it worth maybe the frustration of doing it? Absolutely, 100%, it's worth it. You don't even know the opportunities and the resources and the people that will surface until you take that next step. It's like having a flashlight in the dark. the illumination of the flashlight only goes 1 or 2 steps ahead of you, right? And so when you understand that with each step, the light illuminates the next step or 2 in front of you, you are only given that next step. Until you take that next step, you don't know the options that are going to be in front of you. And writing a book is very similar in that way. Is it maybe a little scary to walk in the dark? Yeah, sometimes it can be, but it also can build inspiration and courage in ways that you haven't even experienced when you have that faith over fear. And when you understand that taking that next step actually gets you closer to where you want to go.
Boom, Lori McNeil, ladies and gentlemen. That's why I love her. That's why, man, you're just a rock star. Lori, you know, you're 100% right. When I wrote my first book, You Were Born to Fly, little did I know, right? I think at the time it was over 5 years ago, 2018, and this book has made me over $250,000, literally. And at the $5,000 investment that I did into the book in 2018, it was like a lot of money to me in that moment. But look, if I would have never planted that seed, I would have never had the harvest of the business, right? We've sold thousands and thousands of books, so you're 100% right. Lori McNeil, thank you for joining us today. We're excited to see you actually in San Antonio at our Sticker Shock Speaking Academy. You see my sign back here. If you have a dream, if you're an author right now and you want to get more exposure, you want to grow your brand as a coach, and you want to learn from a beautiful soul like Lori McNeil, myself, I'm a professional speaker. I've made over $1 million just because of speaking. We want to see you at Sticker Shock. Call us for details, 210-663-5954. And Lori, if someone's thinking about becoming a speaker and they're scared to, why should they be at Sticker Shock here coming up? Hey, actually, it's a month away. I'm going to see you in a month. Yeah.
I know. I know. Yeah, there's so many people out there that want to, they're ready to be visible, but they're not quite sure how to do it. You know, they're not quite sure the tools and the different strategies and techniques that they need to take that next step into the world of speaking. And Sticker Shock is built to do just that. It's built to, I'm honored to be on the speaking team of trainers that do a deeper dive into how you can make big adjustments, how you can make little adjustments, but really understanding the whole world of speaking and what you need to do to take that next step to build your speaking portfolio. Sticker Shock in March was amazing. And Sticker Shock in September next month is already on the back end, just being built out to be even better. So whether you've attended in March, or not, doesn't matter. You definitely want to be in the room in September because you don't want to miss out for all the amazing things that you will learn to build your speaking career and understand the connections, right, between speaking on stage, being an author, having all the tools that you need in order to build that speaking career and build that portfolio that's going to take your messaging and your business and your life to the next level.
So, ladies and gentlemen, go right now, get your copy on Amazon of Lori's book, Legacy Unlocked. And you're asking, well, who's Lori? Well, let me just tell you, Lori just came back from across the seas in Europe. And when she left Europe, a big part of Lori stayed behind. You know why? Because she left hundreds of her books in Europe, and those are seeds that are going to produce a future harvest. Lori, thank you so much for joining us here today. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank everybody for tuning in. This show wouldn't be a success without you, and we're honored to do this. Go right now, get a copy of Lori's book on Amazon. It's available. And just thank you for joining us, and we'll see you here shortly on our next episode of the Author Spotlight, where we're dropping massive value into you. And yes, you too can write a book, and we, DG Enterprises, DG Publishing, we'd love to be your publisher. Until next episode, thank you so much for joining us. Lori, thank you for being a rock star. We love you. We'll see you later, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.